Hello, I'm going to tell you about Microsoft Visual Basics. First of all, we open Microsoft Visual Basics. This is how we started by choosing standard exe, open. So this is the form on which we work in Microsoft Visual Basics. Then in the left we have what we call the toolbox. We have menus, we have the toolbar. This part is called the Project Explorer. As you see, it is having the name of the project, and each form that we'll be creating will be listed here in a hierarchy. Then we have the Properties window, which is used to set the values for different properties or characteristics of objects that we will be using in Visual Basics. Then the form layout is used to control how the form is displayed on the screen, the position I mean. So let's say we have the label, we have the pointer, we have the picture box, we have the text box, and so on. This image shows the names of some of the VB controls or tools. This one is picture, then label, text box. In this video we'll be using some of them, including file list box, combo box, directory list, image box, and so on and so forth. So to create a VB application, we will be following these three steps. Step number 1 is to draw the interface. Step number 3 is to set the properties for different tools. Step number 3 is to write the codes that will be executed once an event occurs to a tool. When you open Microsoft Visual Basic, this is the interface that you will be seeing. So these are some of the names for some tools for Microsoft Visual Basic. This tool is called Add Project. It is used to add a new project. This one is called New Form. As you see, it is used to add a new form. This one is an icon for saving the project. It is used to save. This one, if you want to open an existing project, you will use it. Then this one, which looks like a blue triangle, it is used to run the project or to execute it. This one, once you run it, you will have also to end it or to stop it. You will have to click on stop. So in case the Project Explorer is not displayed, the Properties window, the form layout, you can add them by clicking on these icons. This is one for the properties, this one is for Project Explorer, and so on and so forth. You can see that the Project Explorer can be found in the top right here of the Visual Basic window. Then this one shows you the position of your form on the window you are working on. Then this one shows the dimensions of the form in terms of width and height. So this is it. The IDE of Visual Basics has got menus and toolbars. So these are the tools on the toolbar. Then this is the bar which shows the menus. It is called the menu bar. So the Project Explorer is provided here. The Properties window, it is there. So this Properties window enables you to control the specific characteristics of your VB controls or tools. For instance, you can change the name, you can change the background color, you can change the caption property, etc. So the form layout will give you a position on which the form will be located. For instance, when you drag it up downwards here and you run the project, so the form will be located in the bottom right corner. There are a lot of parts that you see on the VB IDE. This one is called the toolbox, and it enables you to get specific tools that you use to program in Microsoft Visual Basic. Let us try to develop a simple VB program. We provide a label here. So the label here, the caption, we give it as simple calculator. So we are going to format this text. How? By using the font property. So the size, we make it 40 bold. The type, make it Algerian. Of course 40 is too big. Let's decrease to 36 or 28, like this. So we also change the color using this property called forecolor. So we use this palette option like this. Now we add another tool called label. You can use the tool, or you can add a tool by drag and drop techniques. This one, or simply make a double click on it. Like this. Then you will have to resize the toolbox. You will have to resize your tool like this. Then we add the text box. We add another text box. We add a command button, another command button, a third one, and a fifth one. So we are still designing the interface. Of course, immediately we go to step number 2, which is to set the properties. So if we start with label 2, we change the property caption. We call it number 1. The label 3, we call it number 2. We also change the name property for label 2 and label 3. We call it LBL number 1. LBL is the acronym for label number 2. The first text box, we change the name property to txt number 1. Txt again is the acronym for text box. We also change the text property by deleting what is inside. For text box number 2, we change the text property by making it empty. The name, we call it txt number 2. For label number 3, we change LBL answer. The caption, we delete it. We don't need to display the caption here because it is the one which will be displaying the answer. What property we can change again is the font. So the answer should be highlighted in big size compared to the operands used to get it. Now we go to commands. The first command, we change its caption into plus. The second command, we call it minus. The third, we call it divide. The fourth, we call it times, like this. Then we select all the command buttons. How? We simply click the first command, then control down. We don't release it. We keep on clicking on other commands. So we go to font, make it bold, 18. we again resize the command buttons to make them similar in terms of width and height. So this is it. The labels, we can also format them by changing the font into bold and size 18 like this. These values can also be changed by making them bold then 18. Now when we running is to click here on start button. We write 1234. When we click on plus, of course nothing is happening because step number 3 is not yet done. So step number 3 is to write the event procedure codes. So we make a double click here on one button. This button, as you see, it is called command 1 by default. So this is not good. We have to first change its name property into CMD. CMD means command. CMD sum. This one we call it CMD difference. This one CMD quotient, and this one CMD product. Now when you make double click on CMD sum, we should see the name CMD sum. This actually allows you to be able to reference a specific object in this code view when you only check the two first characters of its name. They indicate to you which object you are dealing with. When you encounter an object like this, you will know that it is a command button called sum. So we write the name of this property, which is to contain the answer. It is called LBL answer, like this. Then equal to txt number 1 plus txt number 2. So when we run again, we write 1234 plus, it is displaying 1234. It is not giving us the sum, but the result of concatenation operation. So most of programming languages, they consider this plus sign as concatenation operator. So to avoid this ambiguity, we have to use the var function for both values or text boxes to tell VB that please don't consider this as a string. No, this is a numeric value. So we run again. 1234 plus, it should give you 46, which is the sum. Now let us also program what these other buttons will do. We copy this. We don't have to use var for other operators. When we write minus, it does not consider the first value or the second value as a string. So plus, we run again, then we write 45 34 minus, it should be 11. So let us also program the division button. So we only change the symbol. For the multiplication, we also change the symbol only. When we run again, we write 12 times. So it should be 144. Of course, we are missing some button which can enable us to clear the values, to delete them in other terms. We can add another command button here. The caption property, we call it C for clear. The font, we make it bold 18. Then this font, this C command button, we also call it a name called clear, CMD clear. It is used to clear in other terms. So we write txt number1 dot txt equal empty. Then txt number2 dot text equal empty, and also lbl answer dot caption equal empty. So this button, what it does is to delete each and everything contained in text box number 1, text box number 2, and in this error answer. So we again test it. We write 34 6. When we divide, we should get this. So when we clear, when we wanted to delete this and these operands which gave this, we simply click on C. Then we can write another value, negative. It should be this one. So when again we click on C, clear, it should work like that. The following example is going to show some of the functions of Visual Basics. To be able to do it, we will have to add a new form. We can add a new form by passing through here, or we go to project, then add form. So immediately the form we are creating is called form 2. On this form 2, we are going to use the list box tool. By default, it is called the list 1. We can change its text property. So this text, this list property, by default it is called the list 1. To be able to add some values in it, we can make a double click here on the form. Then we write list 1 dot add item. This add item is a function or a method which is used together with this object. Let's say 1. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can even add number 10 like this. So to be able to show this form 2 when we run, we have to go there on project, then we go to project 1 properties. We set the startup object to be form 2. So once we run, all the numbers, they are listed in a list box. Of course, by default, the caption for form 2 is called form 2. We can call it use of loops in VB programming. So when we run again, it should be like this. The title has changed. So how can we do this automatically without having to write it manually? Using a loop. So we have to start by saying for a equal to 1 to 10, because the numbers were starting from 1 up to 10. If you do remember, so we write for a equal 1 to 10, then list 1 dot add item. Here the value is to be a, so the value of a is going to be displayed here. Then next next we do what? We increment a by 1, like this. Of course, you can even declare this variable a as integer, like this. So we have declared the variable a as integer data type. So a is starting from value 1 up to value 10. So for each value of a, we will display it using add item function. Then next, we will increment the value of a. For instance, if a is 1, so the list item will be displayed as 1. Then a will be equal to 1 plus 1, which will be equal to, again 2 will be displayed, again 2 plus 1, it is 3, and so on and so forth until the value is 10. That's where the for loop will actually stop. So when we run this, we should get the same thing. So what if we are to change this for loop? We use while or do while. We start with while loop. For while we can write while a less than or equal to 10, display the value of a in list 1, then increment the value of a by 1, then while end if you have reached the value which is greater than 10. So this is it. While the value of a is less than or equal to 10, keep on displaying the value of a in a list item. Then increment it by 1. Continue until the value of a is not meeting this condition. For instance, if a is 11, we will see that 11 is not less than or equal to 10. Then the loop should stop. So this is it. Of course, it has started by 0. So what if we want to make it dynamic? The value of a should not be static. Let us read the value of a, dim a as integer. The line is already there. What if we read the value of a using input box function? This input box function has got the prompt. The prompt is the message which is displayed. Enter a value less than or equal to 10. Comma, we have the title. Title of this input box is going to be reading a value like this. Then the default is the default value where we are going to enter the number, enter number like this. So this function called input box it has got like 3 arguments. The first one is called the prompt, as you have seen. The second one is called the title of this input box, and this is called the default value. So when we run the program again, we will see the title at the top. This is the prompt, and this is the default value. So we have to delete the default value. We add a number which is equal to 5, then OK. We should see that the loop started from 5 because the number we gave was 5. So what if we run again the number we give it as -4, then OK. It will continue until the value reaches 10. So how can you change this code into do while loop? So we shall cut this, then we write do while the value of a is less than or equal to 10, it should stop. Of course, we will have to loop while the value of a is less than 10. So when we again enter value 2, then OK. So it works. So this form we have been creating, form 1 and form 2, they are called SDI forms. SDI meaning in full single document interface. So these SDI forms once you are working on them, each one will be having its own window. They can't share the same window. Also, when you open different SDI forms, they will be using a lot of RAM memory, hence consuming your working memory. There are other types of forms which are called SDI forms. So we add them by going to project, add MDI form, open. So this MDI form we are adding is another kind of VB form, which is quite different from the two, form 1 and 2, because when you create an MDI form, all the forms will be opened in it. We are to set it its window state property to maximized such that it will be occupying the entire screen. So when you go back to project 1 properties, startup object, make it MDI form 1. So when we run, it is maximized. So what if we wanted to add menus to this MDI form? You know, menus, they are these functions which are outlined in different menus and submenus and so on. Let us create our own menus in this MDI form. To do it, we go to Tools, then we choose Menu Editor. We can even open the menu editor by pressing the shortcut of Ctrl E. Ctrl together with E, it gives us the same. Let's say here we write file. This is the name of the menu, menu file. Next, calculator, menu calc. You can even see the shortcut. If you wanted to access the submenu called the calculator, we can use the shortcut of Ctrl C to access calculator. Then of course we have to make it a shortcut. Sorry, we have to make it a submenu under file menu by clicking on this right arrow. So when you have these dots in front of a menu, you will know that this menu is a submenu under the menu in its top. So we add another submenu that we call groups, menu groups. Sorry, We go to next. We add another menu called example. menu example. This is the name of the menu. We shouldn't leave it as a blank. So this example sub menu is going to have a Ctrl E shortcut. It is going to be a sub menu of loops. So we have to increase its level like that, such that it is not on the level of loops. Then next, we have to add exit. The name, we call it menu exit. The shortcut, we can call it Ctrl Q, like this. Of course, this exit, we have to click on this left arrow to increase its level from sub menu to a menu, which is on the same level as file. Then we click on OK. Okay, they are telling us that we can't assign this shortcut to a top level menu, so we leave it as none. Instead, we add another one called close. We make it a sub menu. Then we assign it to Ctrl Q. So the name for this sub menu is called menu close. Then OK. So we are almost set. To access this calculator, we can even use the shortcut of Ctrl plus C. Then this is a sub menu. For exit, we have close. So let us program this calculator. As you remember, the form on which we have created the calculator was called form 1. Then the form on which we have used loops is called form 2. So we go to file, then we click on calculator. We write the name of the form which is to be displayed. So form1.show. For the loops, we write form2.show. For exit, we can write unload me. This is single line will close the form. So when we run again, we go to file, then calculator. Immediately the form should be displayed. If you write like this, times should get the answer. Then when we go back to loops, we click on example. Let's say we enter number 3, then OK. So it works. For exit, when we click on it, we have close. So the form is closed. So another example of a VB project includes, we first add a new form. We extend the form to make it somehow wider and higher. We add this timer control. Then we add 2 labels. These labels, we select them all at once. We go to font property. We make it bold. We can make it 30. Even in the font type, we can make it Arial. Then OK. So the timer property, which is called interval, we set it to 80. Then we make a double click on timer. We write label 1 dot date, sorry, dot caption equal date. Then label 2 dot caption equal time, like this. So For this MDI form, we go back to menu editor. Under here we add the next. So we write insert like this. We click on insert to add a new menu here. We call it timer, menu timer, then okay. Of course, timer here is becoming another menu. I wanted it to be a sub menu. We go back to tools, we go to timer, then we make it a sub menu like this. So when we go there, we should get timer. So this timer should show form3 dot show. When we run again, we should get timer like that. So the timer is being increased synchronously, and even the date for today is being displayed. Of course, the caption property for form 3 can also be changed. How? By changing the caption property, displaying date and the time using timer control like that. Once we run again, timer, the name we are giving has taken effect. So when we go to exit, then we close, immediately it is closed. What if we click on exit close by accident and it is closed? Let us add some codes here to enable us avoid this prompt closing by maybe accident. So we declare a variable which is called MSG, which is having variant data type. So declare MSG as variant. MSG is going to have a value using this function called the message box. Prompt is the message. Do you want to exit? This is the message which is displayed in a message box. This message can be accompanied by buttons, which might be yes or no, then plus also a question. Then this is the title of the message box. So this is the message which is called the prompt. This is the buttons. These are the buttons yes and no, accompanied with a question mark. Then this is the title of the message box. Now if the value of this variable called MSG, if MSG equal to VBS, then do what? Unload me. Unload me means to close the form. So we exit sub. We also end if. So once you have used the if, you have to end it at this level. So when we run again, we go back to exit, close. They are asking us, do you want to exit? When I click on no, the form is intact. So when I click on yes, immediately it is closed. Another example is going to use another form. We add a form which is called form 4. So we provide this shape control. Then we use the option buttons. We add like 5 option buttons. Then we change the caption. I mean the font property for each option button to bold 18. So we are going to program these option buttons such that when we select any of them, the shape should change into a different shape. Let's say we make a double click over option 1. We write shape1 dot shape equals 0. So we select this shape1. So this shape1 is the name of this shape. It is called shape1. You can see its name property is called shape1. So the second shape, we double click it, then 1. The third one, it is going to be 2. The fourth one is going to be 3. And the last one is going to be 4. So when we try to run this form 4, we have to make sure that we go back to project menu, project 1 properties. We set form 4 as the first startup object. Then okay, we run it. So as we select different options, the shape is changing into a different shape, as you might have noticed. So the first shape which is being drawn as we select option 1, we are going to change this caption. We call it rectangle. The second shape which is being drawn by selecting option 2 is called square. The third shape is called oval. The next shape which is being drawn is called circle. And the fifth is called rounded rectangle. So when we run it again, we should see something like oval, like circle, like rounded rectangle, and so on. So what if we try to increase the size of this shape like this? We again run it. Square, rectangle, square, oval, circle, rounded rectangle. Immediately, let me show you another example of a program which does something different from this one. Let's say we have a command button which has got text caption, and the font also is set to bold 18. Then we add another tool called the combo box. This combo box, we change its font also to 18, and also its text property. We delete the content, we leave it empty. Then we make a double click over the form. We write combo 1 dot add item. We write red. This is the first content for the combo. So we copy this line, we paste it 3 times. So the next color is going to be black. The next is going to be green. And the next is going to be yellow. So when we want to check if these colors are also affected to combo box, we go back to project properties. We set the startup object to be form 5. So when we run form 5, we click on this combo box. It should do list these items. Of course, this test button is not yet programmed. There are no codes inside it. So we add a label here. We delete its caption. Then we make a double click over test. So we use select case combo1.text. So what do we mean by combo1.text? Combo1.text means the content in combo1 control. So if it is red, then the case is going to be red. If it is black, the case is going to be black, and so on. So combo box.text. Then case can be red like this. When it is red, this label we have added is going to change its background color. So the background color of this label called label 1 is going to change. So first of all, label 1 dot background color is going to be VB red. There is another case. In the case the combo box is displaying black, then I have to copy this. I don't have to rewrite it. So it is going to be VB black. Case green. It is going to be VB green. Case yellow. It's gonna be VB yellow. So these are the 4 options we have set in the combo box. What if someone enters a different color manually? So this case is going to be called else. Then the label 1 dot caption, we display the text which is going to be displayed for the user. This color is not supported, like that. So then we have to end this select case. So end select like this. When we run this code, we should get red test. The label's background color is changing. Black the same. Green, it is becoming green. Yellow, it is becoming yellow. So this project of ours, we have not yet saved it. So it is better if we save it. We go to File, we choose Save Project As. We can use this button called App 1 level to reach local disk C. Then you create a new folder which we call project. We open it, then we save everything inside the project folder. All the forms we created, even the project itself, they are all located in project folder. Now, the next step is to show you how you can create a project in Visual Basics. This project that we are creating right now is going to be connected to a database, which is Microsoft Access. So we create a new form. We start by designing it. we add a label which is called students information management system. Of course, a system is something which is bigger, but this is a simple example of how we can create a part of the system. Board, Algerian, it's gonna be 28. Then the fore color also, we make it a different color. Let's say blue, like this. Then we add a label for the caption. We call it family name. Or we call it first name. Another one we call it family name. The next one we call it age. So we select all of the three labels. We go to font property, we make it bold 18. We add the text boxes in front of each label. So we also add a button here, which we are going to change its caption property into AddNew. We add another one which is called save. We add another one which is called modify. We add another one which we call update. We also can add another button which we call cancel. So we select all the buttons. We set the font properties to bold 18. So the text boxes, we also select them for appearance. We make it 0 flat, appearance property 0 flat, appearance property 0 flat. Also the text property, we delete the content. For another text box, we delete the content. The other one for text property, we delete what is inside there. So when we set this form 6, now before we set it as the first object, we can change the caption here as Student Information Management System. So when we go back to So when we go to project, then project properties, we set the startup object to be form 6 and we run it. So the form should look like this. Of course, these buttons, they need to have codes which are to be executed once clicked on. Before we program these buttons, we have to create a database. So we open Access. We are going to create a blank desktop database. We click on Browse for a location to put your database. You remember where we saved our project. We saved it on C in a folder called the project. So the database, we can, call it Student Information Management System. Then the save as type here, you have to be careful which type you choose. With the Visual Basic 6, it requires you to use Microsoft Access 2002 up to 2003 format. So don't leave it as this one. No, you have to make it 2002 up to 2003. Then OK. Then create. So we are going to create our database. So it is already created, of course. It is called CIMS. Our table, right click, design view, then we call it students, then OK. This primary key should not be there. We right click, then we choose primary key to remove it. This one is called F name for first name. It is short text. This is called L name for last name or family name, short text. This one is going to be H. So H should be not short text but a number. Here you can even, instead of making it long integer, you make it byte. Short text, which should not exceed 35 characters. Short text which should not exceed 55. Here we also put 65. So save, Ctrl S. So this is our table which is created. Now, as we have the database and a table, we now are able to program these buttons. Before we program these buttons, you remember the second step of creating a VB application. It is to set the properties. We have only set the caption property. So we also set the name property. So the command buttons, they have CMD, then AddNew, again CMD for command, then save, CMD modify. This is gonna be CMD update, and this one is going to be CMD cancel. So each button's property name has changed. So when you make a double click over here, we write, maybe before we write, there is one step that we have to perform. We go back to project, we choose components submenu, components. There is a control which is not here in the toolbox that we are to add. It is called Microsoft Adobe Data Control 6.0. This one. So we click on apply, then close. So it is already there. So this Adobe's control, it is the one which is going to enable us to connect to a database, then to select the table which is to contain the content that is going to be entered in these text boxes. So we first connect it to a database. So we select it, We choose its property called the connection string. We click on build. We choose Microsoft Jet 4.0 OLE DB provider. Next, we choose or we select the database name. Do you remember where we saved our database? On C. In a folder called the project. The database is called like that. Then open. We are going to test the connection. As you see, the test connection succeeded. So then OK, apply. So we have these additional tabs. One of them is called record source. So we choose record source. Then the command type, we choose table. The table name, we choose the students. Then apply. Then OK. So at this level, this form of ours has got a connection already to a database and its a table. Now, we are going to select each text box. We look for its property called data source. We set it as this one. Another text box, data source, we set it as this one. Edge also, we set it as this one. Now, we also select each text box. We set its data field. This time we are going to use data field property. We set it as the F name. This is where the first name is going to be inserted. This text box, it is going to be entered in L name. The content of this text box is going to be entered in H. So we have set the data field for each text box. So what is remaining is to program now this button. So we write this one. Dot record set dot AddNew. This single line is going to enable these text boxes to be ready for data entry. Then save. We write this one dot record set dot fields. This is the field of the table in the database. The first field, we called it F name. Dot its value is going to be the value which is going to be entered in text box 1. So when you write text1.txt, we mean the content of this text box whose name property is text1. So we continue by selecting this. We don't have to rewrite the code. We edit this existing code. So the field here is changing into error name. So error name is going to contain the content of text box 2. Here it is gonna be H. Then this is text box 3. So the last line we are adding is this one dot record set dot update. So let us check now what our program gives us. So we click on start again. We enter. Sorry, before we enter, we have to click on AddNew to make these text boxes ready for data entry. Then save. So let us our project enable content. So the student has been entered, called Ngoga Bervin. So this is it. Let us add a new student. we add new, we add Lana Isheja, age 1, save. When we go back here, we close the table. Yes, we open it again. Lana Isheja should come in. So this is how we insert in Visual Basics. This cancel command is going to be used to delete the content of these text boxes. So when you make double click on cancel, we write text1.text equal empty dot text equal empty 3.text equal empty. So we mean that what is in the text box 1, 2, and 3 is going to be deleted. So when we run it again, we click on cancel, immediately it is deleted. So we can now go on by adding additional code for AddNew. When we by accident click on AddNew, we should normally make the program ready for us to enter some data. So in the case we click on AddNew, there should be a button displayed asking us if yes, we wanted to add or no. So what we have to do is to add theme AddNew as variable, then AddNew is going to be equal to message box. Do you want to add a new record? Then VB yes or no plus VB question. So if this variable AddNew is equal to VBS, then AddNew will be done. Otherwise, we have to exit and end if. So again, run the code, AddNew. Immediately they ask us if you wanted to add a new record. No, nothing is done. So we add new. We add Belanov Ganza, age 6, then save. Again, when we save, we are not sure if we are saving. So we click on save, nothing is done. But really, saving has taken effect. Let us again check the table. You can see Belanov Ganza is inside the table. So we have to add an additional code here for save button to enable a message box to be displayed. Let's say we call a message box called record saved successfully, comma VB yes, VB OK only. Let us use VB OK only, then comma or plus VB information because they are informing us. Then the title of the message box is going to be saving, like this. So this is the message we are displaying for the user. the button which is going to be displayed in this message box is going to be only OK, and also the information icon is going to be displayed. So the title of the message box is going to be savings ... So we again refresh, add new, yes, we are sure. Then we add Belanova Shimwe 4, then save. Immediately they tell us record saved successfully. So when we go back to our table, we should see Belanova Ishimwe added. Now, let us continue by programming these modify and update buttons. So we should start with modify. Double click over modify. For modify, we can create a button which we call, let's say, not a button but a variable which we call modify as variant. Then this variable modify is going to have a value from an input box which is called, enter the f name to be modified, comma VB information. We can write VBS or maybe VB information. Okay, VB information, comma modify. So this is the function called input box. This is the prompt. Then this is the icon which is going to be displayed, and this is the title. We write this one dot record set dot move fast. So we are starting on the first record of the table. Then this one dot record set dot find. What are we finding? We are finding the column name called f name, which should be equal to semicolon, double quote. Let me repeat this. I first write the semicolon, then double quote, I leave the space, I write ampersand, then I write modify. Modify is the name of the variable which is to contain the input given using input box. Like that, a space, then double quote, single quote, double quote. I repeat it, double quote, single quote, double quote. So this double quote closes this one, and so on and so forth. So what we are doing, we are checking if what has been entered in the input box and it is saved in modify variable, it is really contained in the table in the column called f name. So after that, we have to continue with if this one dot record set dot end of file. End of file means if we look for what we have entered in the input box and it is not maybe contained in the table, then we have reached the end of the table. End of file. This is what we mean by the end of the table. EOF, end of file. Then we should call the message box, which says that, of course, the message is that the student couldn't be found. The student couldn't be found. Then VB information modify. So in case the student is found, meaning that we have not yet reached the end of the table, and we find the student who has got the name entered and it is located somewhere on F name column, we should do what? We should write like text1 dot text, this one, equal to this one dot record set dot fields from the field called F name dot value. The next two lines we are going to copy this one, then we edit them. So the next is going to take what is contained in the column called the error name is going to be displayed in the text box too. Then what is contained in the edge column is going to be displayed in the edge text box. So we edit it like this. Here it is not F name, it is error name. Then here the text box should be number 2. This is edge like that, and this is text box number 3. So we run this code and we check what it gives us. So we click on modify, block if without an end. So we have used the if here. We should end it as end if, like this. So we save again, we save form 6, then we run it, modify. Now enter the first name to be modified. So let's say we enter Lana, then okay, immediately you can see that Lana is found. When we click on modify again, we write a name which is not there. Let's say we write Helen, then we click on OK. Immediately they tell us student couldn't be found. So for modify, when we write Belanova, okay, so Belanova is there and we are able to to edit the details for Belanova. Of course, we should click on update, but as you do remember, this button is not yet programmed. So we have to program it such that when we modify the details of Belanova, we click on update. What we have modified here should also take effect in the table in the database. So to do it, we have to double click on update. Here, what we are going to do is the reverse of this, is the reverse of modify. So we take these lines of codes, we paste them here. What we do is to take what is on the left side, we just put it in the right side. We take what is on the left, we delete the equal sign, we put it on the right side. The same here. So after that, we have to use this one dot record set dot update. We can even call a message box saying updated successfully. VB information, comma, update. Of course, here we can also add the VB OK only plus, like this. Now let us test our code. First of all, we modify student who is called Lana, then OK. So the student is found. So instead of Lana Isheja, we call her Lana Ishema. Even in the age we can put it as 7. Then we click on update. They are telling us update successfully. Now what we are going to do is to check in the database if the student who was called Lana Isheja, she's now called Ishema and she's aged 7. So we go back, we open the table, we will see that Lana is now called Ishema and she is aged 7. So this is how modify and update work. Let us continue by adding the delete button, which is used to delete from the database. So the caption is going to be delete. The font type is going to be bold and 18. The size and the font style. The name of this button is going to be CMD delete. CMD delete. So double click over delete button. We are going to declare a variable which is called delete as variant. Then delete is going to have a value from the input we get from an input box. Here we say enter the F name to delete. Enter the first name, comma, we can do like this. Sorry, here we should add another double quote. So the input box is going to say enter the first name to be deleted and so on. Now if the variable delete is equal to empty, meaning nothing we have entered, then the message box should be called which says please enter F name to be deleted, comma, VB information, they are informing you, exit sub. Then we are re-ending this if we have declared here. This is the first option of leaving the input box empty. Then the message should be displayed for you to take action. Now we write Adobe Swan dot record set dot move first, Adobe Swan dot record set dot find, we are finding what? The F name. This should be equal with what is written in txt. So for this case, it is text1.text. This message box, sorry, this input box. Of course, we have to include an ampersand here and an ampersand. Then we write double quote, single quote, double quote. So if you check the database and we reach the end of the line or the end of the file, meaning we reach the end of the table, we don't find someone called the name displayed here, then do what? Then call the message box which says student not found. This is VB information. So we write VB on replace. Okay, we have to include this double quote here. Then after displaying this message, what do we do next? So we exit sub. So in case we check the database in students table, we don't have to reach the end of the file. We find instead someone whose name is listed here. We do have to do something else. We declare another variable which is called deletion as variant. Deletion is equal to message box confirm to delete. Of course, here the buttons might be yes or no. VB yes no plus VB question with the question mark. So if deletion is equal to VB yes, then we have to delete. How? I do this one dot record set dot delete. Then we have to move next, because when we delete the current row, of course it is removed, but we have to move next to display the next column, I mean the next row. So we write do this one dot record set dot move next. Then exit sub. So by exiting sub, we have also to end if. Now here we have else, but what if this if deletion equal VBS, then we have to delete. Now what if deletion is equal to VB no instead of VBS? We have to specify what is to be done here. So if deletion this variable deletion equal VB no, then we have to assure that the user knows that the record is not deleted. maybe by calling a message box and displaying this message. Student is intact, not deleted. You can use VB information, comma, like that. So we have to end this if like this. So these lines of code have been long, but we wanted to include almost most of the options which are quite possible. The first option is when someone does not enter something to be deleted. This is the message which is to be displayed. So in case someone wants to enter something and this thing is not found, this message should be displayed. In case the person who is to be deleted is found, you have to accept by using yes button or no button. So in case you click on yes, the person is deleted. So in case you click on no, the person is not deleted. So in case you click on no, the person is not deleted. So we have tried to bring in different scenarios which are quite possible. So we click on delete, block if without end if. So we have to end if again here. We have to end if again. So not modify but delete. So enter the first name to be deleted. We don't enter anything. We leave it as empty. Then okay, they are telling us please enter F name to be deleted. So again we click on delete. We write like Belanova. So then okay, as you can see, Belanova, sorry, not Belanova, Bervin is the one who is displayed. So what do we have? So when we click on delete, we enter Lana, then okay. Confirm to delete, we can click on yes or no. When we click on no, this message should be displayed. But when we again write like that, we write Belanov, then okay. Confirm to delete, yes. So we should see that so we have to change this text1.text. We call it delete, because delete is the variable which contains the value which is to be deleted. So we again run. We click on delete. We write Belanov, then okay. Confirm to be deleted, no. Student is intact. Delete again. We write Belanov, then okay. They ask us if you really wanted to delete, yes. So the student should be deleted. As you can see, Beranov is gone. So if you wanted to add a new student called Bervin, Ngoga, aged 4, save. Then we exit. We can even program the last button, which is called exit. Exit. We program it by adding the caption called exit. The font, we also check the font style and size. Okay, so exit is going to be unload me, like this. So when we run again, we click on exit, immediately we are unloading. So we can further add this to our MDI form. We go back to Tools, Menu Editor. We have so far added how many forms? Calculator has got form 1. Example has got form 2. Exit, it is to close. So what if we add form 4, which was about shapes? It was about changing shapes. Form 5 was about changing like this, the label background color. Then form 5 was about this student information management system. So we wanted to add all these forms to these menus, menu editor. At this level, we add an insert. We bring it down. Then we write edit as a name of the menu. We make it the top level menu. Student Information Management System, MNUS. Next, of course, here we go back to SIMS. We increase its level to make it a submenu. Then insert, down again. We make it shapes. Do you remember the shortcuts we have been using? Here let us make it Ctrl P or Ctrl S for shapes. Insert again, we bring it down. Another submenu is going to be called combo. MNU combo. Then OK. Shapes submenu is going to be called MNU shapes. Then OK. So to edit this sims is going to be form6.show. This one shapes is going to be, was it form5.show? It was form 5, I think. Yeah, it was form 5. Form 4, sorry, it was not 5, it was 4 shapes. Then we program this remaining menu, which is called the combo. It was form 5, huh? Dot show. So when we go back to project properties, we choose MDI form, okay. We run it. We should see the menus working. We click on Sims. It is bringing us this. Then we click on Exit, Edit, Shapes. We can change shapes as we have been doing. We can go back to combo. We choose the color. We choose another color and so on. So exit, close. So before we conclude, I would like to show you how you can trap errors in VB. For instance, we go to form 2. We set it, yes, as the first startup object. We run it. The value here, it should be a numeric value, but what if we write hello instead of writing the numeric value? So as you can see, they are telling type mismatch, then debug. So the error has clashed our program. So to avoid this kind of clash, we can trap the error by writing on this level on error, go to error like this. Then you are going to define this error. It is called actually a label. So this label is going to be defined here as core message box, error description, comma VB critical, comma like this. So in case an error is encountered, immediately we go to error. So error is defined like this. It is a message box. So we go to run again. We write hello. Then okay. So the program has not crashed, but it is giving us this type of mismatch message. Okay, like that. Instead of crashing, it is giving me a mismatch. I can even here include a message saying you have entered a wrong input. So I run again. I write ABC. Okay, immediately now the message is clear. You have entered a wrong input. So this is how you trap errors in Visual Basics. So lastly, let us add a new form, an SDI form, of course. I want to show you how to use some of the remaining controls, like picture box and image box. Let us see how they differ. So this is the image box, this is the picture box. For the property called the picture, we browse to where the picture is located. Let's say it is in the pictures, and it is this one. Then open. Try to make it bigger, a little bit, or maybe smaller, like this one. So we try to make it small like this. Then the image box also will resize it to have the same size as the size of the picture box. We add the same picture. Now, what I want to show you is this property called stretch. It should be there for image box. So stretch will make it true. As we make it true, the entire photo is coming in. Even when we make it very, very small, we will see the photo entirely. But when stretch, we make it false, you can see how it is like. But this picture box control does not have this property which we used called the stretch. So when you resize the picture box to be very small, the image even might be hidden. You can't see it properly. But this one, as we keep making it small, as far as the stretch property is set to true, you can still see the entire image. This is the difference between image box and the picture box. So we remain with the picture box, which is this one. We add the drive list box. We add the file list box. We also add the directory list box, like this one. We can as well add a text box down here. Like this. So we make a double click over the drive one. We write this dir1 dot path, not parent, but path equal to drive one dot drive. We double click directory. It is dir1 change. We call it file1 dot path equal to dir1 dot path. We write file1 dot pattern equal to double quote star dot gif semicolon star dot bmp, that is for bitmap images, star semicolon star dot gpg, like this. Then we go on by making a double click over this file list box. It is called the file list box control. So we write text1 dot text equal to file1 dot file name. P, it is the path. P equal file1 dot path plus, like this, plus file1 dot file name. Then set image1 dot picture equal to load picture P. So we are trying to interconnect this drive box, the directory list box, and the file list box, such that when we select this drive, the directories in this drive will be listed here in the directories. Then when you click on one folder, the files in that folder will be listed here. So this is what we are trying to make. Let us try to set form 7 as the startup object. Let's say we go to F, we choose pictures or photos. So under photos, here there are different photos. For instance, I choose different photos for anniversary and so on. So as we keep on, changing the directory, changing whatever, the file I click on is displayed in this image box. We have done it by doing like this. If you do remember how we did it, we have said that we should set the image1.picture. So the property of this image1 control should be equal to the value in P. So the value in P is the file of the path of the file and even the file name and so on. So when we run it again, we go now this time to local disk C. We choose users, we choose HP, we choose the folder for images, pictures. These are some of the pictures in my pictures folder. So these are different pictures. So again, as we choose a different file, this text box is also displaying the name and the extension of that type of file which is selected. So this is how we use the drive box, the directory list box, and the file list box, together with the image control and also the text box. So this is it. Thank you for your kind attention. Bye.